Aflatoxin is a word that strikes fear into the hearts of farmers and consumers alike, particularly when it comes to maize, one of the world's most important staple crops. This toxic compound, produced by certain molds, can have devastating effects on health, agriculture, and economies. In this video, we're going to delve into how to prevent and deal with aflatoxin in maize, providing essential tips that every farmer should know. First, let's understand what aflatoxin is and why it's such a concern. Aflatoxins are naturally occurring mycotoxins produced by molds such as Aspergillus flavus and Aspergillus parasiticus, which thrive in warm, humid environments. They can contaminate maize at various stages, in the field, during harvest, and even in storage. The health risks associated with aflatoxin exposure are significant. They can cause liver damage, immune system suppression, and are classified as carcinogenic. Therefore, prevention is key. The first step in preventing aflatoxin contamination is to focus on field management practices. Crop rotation is one of the most effective strategies. By rotating maize with non-host crops, you can disrupt the life cycle of the aflatoxin-producing molds. This means that instead of planting maize in the same field year after year, consider alternating it with legumes or other crops that do not support the growth of these fungi. Another crucial aspect of field management is selecting resistant maize varieties. Some maize hybrids have been developed with resistance to aflatoxin contamination. Research your options and choose varieties that have shown resilience against mold infections. Not only can this reduce your risk of aflatoxin, but it can also improve your overall yield. Next, let's talk about the importance of proper planting techniques. Aim to plant your maize at the right time, as this can significantly influence its vulnerability to mold. Planting too late in the season can expose your maize to late-season droughts or wet conditions, both of which can increase the risk of aflatoxin contamination. Additionally, ensure that your maize is planted at the correct density to promote good air circulation, which can help reduce humidity levels around the plants. Once your maize is growing, keep an eye on the health of the crop. Regularly scout for pests and diseases. Insects like the corn earworm can damage the maize ears, providing an entry point for aflatoxin-producing molds. Implement integrated pest management practices to keep these pests at bay, including the use of biological control agents, resistant varieties, and careful monitoring. As harvest approaches, timing becomes critical. Harvest maize at the right moisture content, ideally between 20 to 25%. If you harvest too late, the ears can become overripe and more susceptible to mold. On the other hand, harvesting too early can lead to grain that is too moist, which is also prone to contamination. Use a moisture meter to ensure that you're harvesting at the optimal time. After harvesting, the handling and storage of maize play a crucial role in preventing aflatoxin contamination. First, ensure that your harvesting equipment is clean and free from mold. Any residual mold from previous crops can contaminate your fresh harvest. Once harvested, dry the maize as quickly as possible to reduce moisture levels. Ideally, the moisture content should be below 13% before storage. Use mechanical dryers if necessary, and ensure good airflow while drying. Storage conditions are also vital. Store maize in a cool, dry environment to deter mold growth. Consider using airtight containers or silos that can help control humidity levels. Regularly inspect your stored maize for signs of mold or insect infestation. If you detect any issues, take immediate action to address them, whether that means removing contaminated grain or treating the storage area. Now, let's discuss what to do if you discover aflatoxin in your maize. First, don't panic. Aflatoxin contamination can be managed, but it requires prompt action. Testing is essential. Use commercial testing kits or send samples to a laboratory to determine the level of contamination. If the levels are below the regulatory limits, the maize may still be safe for use, but if they exceed those limits, you'll need to take further steps. One option is to sort and remove contaminated grain. Manual sorting can be labor-intensive but effective. Look for discolored or damaged kernels, as these are more likely to be contaminated. However, this method may not be feasible for large quantities, so consider investing in more sophisticated sorting technology if aflatoxin is a recurring problem. Another approach is to use detoxification methods. Some research suggests that certain treatments can reduce aflatoxin levels in contaminated maize. For example, heat treatment can degrade aflatoxins, but it must be applied carefully to avoid damaging the grain. Additionally, certain chemical treatments can bind aflatoxins, rendering them less harmful. Always follow safety guidelines and regulations when using these methods. It's also important to educate yourself and your community about aflatoxin. Raising awareness can help farmers recognize the signs of contamination and adopt best practices. Consider hosting workshops or informational sessions to share knowledge and resources. Collaboration is key. Work with local agricultural extension services or universities to access information and support. Lastly, keep records of your practices and any incidents of aflatoxin contamination. This data can help you identify patterns and improve your prevention strategies over time. Analyzing your successes and setbacks will empower you to make informed decisions that enhance the safety and quality of your maize production. In summary, preventing and dealing with aflatoxin in maize requires a multifaceted approach. From field management and crop selection to proper harvesting, storage, and education, each step plays a crucial role in safeguarding your maize from this harmful toxin. By implementing these essential tips, you can protect your health, your crops, and your livelihood. Remember, knowledge is power, and with the right practices, you can keep aflatoxin at bay and ensure the safety of your maize for years to come. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more informative content on agriculture and food safety.